Good afternoon. Mine was not actually a memo. All I attempted to do was to inform Council on progress made so far with respect to the humanitarian crisis in Ukraine. In other words, the plan that we have for the evacuation of Nigerians stranded in Ukraine. First, let me start by saying that we expressed our sincere appreciation of the pains that parents and relations of Nigerians that may have been caught up in this war in Ukraine may be going through. We share their pains because as parents, we know the agony that we must all be going through now. To have a loved one that is caught up in such a situation that he has no control over, and especially very innocent young students. And to also inform Council that the President has graciously given us approval, along with the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, to do the best we can, to do the needful, in other words, to evacuate those Nigerians that are willing to come back home. I did inform Council that on the whole, we have some say about 7,100 Nigerians, a conservative estimate, both the registered and the unregistered. We assume that we have that number of Nigerians living there. But a good number of them being students who may have been caught up in this war in Ukraine. And to say that evacuating such a number is certainly not an easy task. But we're also not unmindful of the fact that some Nigerians may decide of their own not to even come back home. But our responsibility and our duty is to ensure that we do the best we can to provide them the opportunity to come back if they do choose to come back. And therefore, we made an effort, along, like I said, with, say, the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and other agencies of government. In fact, we've held a series of interministerial meetings to see how best we can address this matter as quickly as possible. But again, as you would appreciate, there are issues of resources involved. And this is where Mr. President's involvement has been very helpful. And that has enabled us to conclude arrangements to actually dispatch 3 aircraft to 3 different countries to evacuate our citizens. These countries include Poland, Hungary, and Romania. We have some numbers. I think in Poland we have about, how many? 400 Nigerians. In Hungary we have about 960, and those and such numbers. And like I said, all these agencies are pooling resources to ensure that these aircraft leave today for these countries in order to evacuate our nationals from those countries. In a nutshell, actually, what we decided, that was what we thought as a ministry we should inform Council of efforts that have been made so far. And of course, we intend to run as many shifts as possible, depending upon the numbers, again, that make themselves available. These numbers we're talking about may not be all, because there may be some that have crossed on their own. There may be some that have made some private arrangements that we may not have known about. But at least our missions out there have reached out to the students' union bodies in all the institutions where they are located, given them all the numbers for purposes of contact, told them what borders to go to where it was possible, so as to make the evacuation process as smooth as possible. Even this morning, I've been in touch with some of these missions, especially Poland and Romania, and they've assured us that the numbers that they have are very much accommodated, well accommodated. They are feeding them, and they are all ready for the evacuation exercise. This we thought we should tell, or we should inform members of the council, and through your good selves, to also tell Nigerians that the Nigerian government is making every effort to ensure that as many of our citizens as have indicated interest to come back will be evacuated. I thank you very much. The questions are very straightforward. You want to know how many were supposed to be airlifting from Romania. Am I right? Romania, we have a figure of about 940, like I said, 940 people that have been registered so far. Maybe between the time we had this number and now, the number may have increased. I wouldn't know. But tentatively, we have this figure of 940. In Slovakia, we have 150. And all these figures are at yesterday. In Poland, we have 350. You asked, talking about the aircraft. I said Max Air, somebody said Max Air and Air Peace. Yes, these are the two airlines. Air Peace has 2 aircraft, while Max is providing 1. Talking about students that are trapped in the town that has been, did you say, captured by the Russian troops? Well, I guess we want to assume that the Russian armed forces would obey, of course, the rules of engagement. They know the laws. They know the rules about civilians that are caught up in situations such as this. We want to assume that they will respect international law and that they will ensure that no harm comes to them. Don't forget, even our missions now, even our mission in Ukraine has had to be evacuated. So if for any reason any Nigerian is left behind, we are very, very prayerful, we are very hopeful that no harm shall come to them. Once, of course, they're in some shelter or whatever place that they're hiding. And we've also, don't forget, we have had to summon both the Russian and the Ukrainian ambassadors to our ministry. And we did emphasize to them the need for their troops to ensure that they do not do anything that will harm the lives of innocent citizens. We've seen video clips making the rounds about the treatment that has been supposed to have been meted out to black people who were in queues, who were in buses and all that. All these were brought to the attention of the ambassadors, and we have expressed our displeasure at these developments and demanded that they do something about this. I guess that is... have I answered all the questions?
I asked how much the president approved for the
Oh, he approved some, how many? Say something like, is it $5 million or so dollars? $5 million? Oh, okay, I understand it's something in the region of $8 million. $8 million.
It's 8.5 million for 5,000 Nigerians. From which minister?
It's a joint.
Well, it's a joint, and it's the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development that presented the memo, and we got the approval. That was why I was coming in.
It's not a matter of Ministry of Foreign Affairs alone.
Yes.
In fact, it
that
also
was why
involves...
I was coming in to provide the accurate figure, so that we are not misquoted.
If you do not like this, for the sake of the camera, you need to speak one at a time. We can
Okay.
My sister, come, my sister. The Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs wrote a memo to the President seeking for funding to enable us, conduct this exercise. She has told you herself that the memo was in the tune of 8.5. That provision entails arrangements to evacuate not less than 5,000 Nigerians. Whatever happens, you can be rest assured we are going to run any number of shifts that it will involve. Don't forget that it also involves taking care of those Nigerians that may decide not to come back. It also includes some assistance. The feeding that may have been done by the missions under whatever arrangements. And the missions themselves are they're hamstrung. They are also in very, very dire situations. So it's a whole gamut of activities that are involved. Sorry?
Okay. I think that's it.